Who's the one
I think Hollywood's demonic, so I don't model myself after people in Hollywood.
Hollywood's relationship with woke culture is quite a mixed bag. On one hand, many people in the industry are all in favor of it, seeing it as a way to push for social justice, diversity, and inclusion.
Then you're sending a message that black women cannot lead the box office globally.
Woke culture, it's all about fighting for justice and equality. But is it empowering, or just making everyone walk on eggshells?
People buying a black and white understand. There are men and there are women, and never the twain shall meet.
But is it that simple? Many people see non-binary identities as an important move towards inclusivity, but some believe it makes understanding gender more complicated. Is this a positive change, or does it challenge how we've always thought about gender? Now, one can't deny that this has really changed the game in Hollywood, leading to better representation of marginalized groups and giving us richer, more varied stories and characters on screen. But then you have the critics who raise some valid points. They argue that this push for wokeness can sometimes veer into censorship or overly careful storytelling. It can feel like creativity gets stifled and discussions become limited. Plus, there's the whole issue of cancel culture, where individuals or projects face intense backlash for slip-ups, making it tough to navigate the landscape. No, I might go ahead and contradict myself by saying that it's no surprise that Hollywood wants to embrace progressive values. However, many studios are still stuck in old power structures and focused on making money. This often leads them to prioritize marketability over genuine representation, resulting in tokenism instead of authentic storytelling. In a world dominated by political correctness, some voices dare to challenge the status quo. One such voice is Denzel Washington. Let's take a closer look at what he thinks and how he tells his perspective.
Black director. Could a white director not have?
It's not color, it's culture.
Explain the difference, because I think we're in a
Steven
space
Spielberg
right
did Schindler's List. Martin Scorsese did Goodfellas, right? Steven Spielberg could direct Goodfellas. Martin Scorsese probably could have done a good job with Schindler's List, but they're cultural differences, you know? I know, you know, we all know what it is when a hot comb hits your hair on a Sunday morning, what it smells like. That's a cultural difference.
Denzel's approach shows that cultural understanding, not simply race, is key to telling authentic stories and making real connections, thus focusing on culture rather than race.
Relationships have to do with race relationships. You're white or whatever you are, I'm black or whatever I am. We're standing here talking now. That's how we get things done. You can't legislate love. The President of the United States can't legislate us into liking each other. We have to step forward and ask questions about each other and engage. There's no law that says, oh, because I'm president, you all got to get along now. So it's up to us.
Denzel explains that meaningful relationships between races are built through communications, not through laws or policies. Government can't force people to understand each other. It's up to individuals to make efforts to enhance and connect. This is a direct critique of woke culture's reliance on legislation to solve racial issues. And how can we talk about wokeism in Hollywood and not talk about cancel culture? Who knew that holding celebrities accountable for their actions could be so controversial? It's almost like people expect their favorite stars to be flawless, rather than, human. I mean, isn't it just adorable how a single tweet from 10 years ago can completely ruin someone's career? Clearly, we should all be perfect saints at all times, after all. Who needs growth or redemption when you can just dig up a decade's worth of mistakes? Let's not overlook the fun of watching studios rush to cut ties with anyone who's ever made a wrong move. Nothing shows artistic integrity like a quick cancellation. Obviously, we should choose a safe, comfortable bubble over facing real-life messiness. After all, who needs real conversations when we can just hit the cancel button? Let's take a moment to explore Barack Obama's thoughts on cancel culture.
The idea of purity and you're never compromised and you're always politically woke and all that stuff. You should get over that quickly. If I tweet or hashtag about how you didn't do something right, I can sit back and feel pretty good about myself.
To quote him, again, cancel culture is not activism. In Hollywood, there are very real, very brutal consequences for speaking out.
Manuel Cafferty. He was a San Diego gas and electric worker, but he got fired because someone reported him making a white supremacist hand gesture outside the window of his truck. But he's not a white supremacist, he's Latino, and he wasn't making a hand gesture, he was probably just flicking a booger. Is this really who we want to become? A society of phony, clenched asshole avatars, walking on eggshells, always looking over your shoulder about getting ratted out for something that actually has nothing to do with your character or...
Bill Maher, comedian, talk show host, historically known for his liberal views. Maher has been around for a decade, often criticizing conservatives, but recently, he has found himself woke culture.
The comedian talk show host who is historically known for his liberal views. Maher has been a staple in Hollywood for decades, often criticizing conservatives.
Mr. Emmanuel Cafferty. He was a San Diego gas and electric worker, but he got fired because someone reported him making a white supremacist hand gesture outside the window of his truck. But he's not a white supremacist, he's Latino, and he wasn't making a hand gesture. He's probably just flicking of your character or morals.
Maher's critiques didn't stop there. He took on topics like cancel culture, identity politics, and what he saw as the left's obsession with race.
With his signature wit, he argues for the importance of open conversation, reminding us that laughter can be the best medicine, especially when navigating the complexities of our times. In Maher's world, it's all about finding that sweet spot where we can challenge each other without resorting to outrage, making room for both progress and the freedom to speak our minds. It's a balancing act, and he's ready to tackle it head-on, one punchline at a time. Candace Owen, who also infamously said that Hollywood is demonic, also critiques Hollywood's embrace of woke culture, arguing that it promotes a narrow set of beliefs and stifles free expression. Being canceled herself, she sees the industry's focus on diversity and social justice as leading to a form of ideological conformity, where dissenting opinions, particularly conservative ones, are marginalized.
Who's the one?
I think Hollywood's demonic, so I don't model myself after people in Hollywood.
Owens highlights examples of films and shows that prioritize political correctness over creativity, suggesting that this approach can result in less authentic storytelling. Her stance has made her a polarizing figure in discussions about Hollywood's evolving values, positioning her against many who advocate for the changes that woke culture brings to the industry. This ongoing dialogue reflects a broader cultural clash over issues of representation, free speech, and the role of media in shaping societal norms. More and more actors are now pushing back against the woke culture, and it's about time. They are fed up with constant tiptoeing and worried about one wrong word or joke that could end their career. Let's explore some moments where Hollywood stars took a stand against this, which led to almost costing them their careers. Gina Carano, an actress of Disney, or can we say former actress?
A Holocaust tweet. And when I had posted it on you remember Twitter used to have or X used to have the fleet section, which is like the Instagram version of the stories. So I'd put it up there and I put it in my, and I was just kind of I
actually like the fleet. I don't know why they got rid of it.
I like the fleet too.
I don't know why
Bring
they
back
got rid
the fleet,
of it.
Elon. We like
fleet
the fleet.
was great.
So this is the
Zoom in a little bit, Rob.
Yeah.
The infamous tweet.
The infamous
Jews
tweet.
were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children, because history is edited. Rob, I don't want an ad, Rob.
So this is the
Zoom in a little bit, Rob.
Yeah.
The infamous tweet.
The infamous
Jews
tweet.
were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors.
Gina Carano was fired from her role in the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian in February 2021 due to her controversial social media posts, which many deemed offensive or inflammatory. Her comments included comparisons of the treatment of conservatives to the experiences of Jews in Nazi Germany, which sparked significant backlash. Her firing ignited a broader debate about cancel culture, free speech, and the responsibilities of public figures on social media. Supporters of Carano argued that her dismissal was an example of excessive political correctness, while critics maintained that her statements were harmful and deserved consequences. This incident reflects the ongoing tensions in Hollywood regarding accountability and the limits of expression in the age of social media. Next, we have Chris Pratt. He triggered people just over a shirt. Insane, right? Chris Pratt found himself in hot water over a t-shirt that some saw as a nod to conservative values, which didn't sit well with many during a peak moment for social justice discussions. Critics argued it highlighted a disconnect from progressive ideals, especially since he was linked to a church with traditional views. On the flip side, his supporters jumped in, insisting that it's just a shirt and shouldn't define his entire character. But this little wardrobe choice ignited a much bigger conversation about the expectations celebrities face to toe the progressive line. It's a perfect example of how something as casual as a t-shirt can set off a whirlwind of opinions and drama in today's cultural landscape. In the end, the truth about Hollywood's woke agenda is a mix of real social justice, business interests, and changing culture. As the industry looks at its past and moves toward a future focused on representation and inclusivity, it becomes clear that this push for change isn't just a fad. It reflects a society looking for stories that connect with a wider audience. While some see this shift as a threat to artistic freedom, others view it as a vital opportunity to uplift voices that have been ignored. Hollywood's journey through this awakening could lead to richer stories and a more diverse landscape that challenges old ways of thinking. As this new era unfolds, it will be interesting to see if the industry can balance creativity with the needs of a more aware audience, creating not just entertainment, but a true reflection of the world we live in. What are your thoughts on Hollywood and wokeism? Let us know in the comments down below.